So your suggestion is that the process of change is first to be able to break some habits that aren't particularly helpful.
The things you want to change. Yeah.
Right. So a certain amount of patience is required then, and a certain amount of time.
Absolutely. Yes, and I have no idea how long it takes someone else to change their habits or patterns. Although some habits need to be stopped immediately, of course. For example, some folks get into difficulty with drugs, for example. And I do know that, for example, if you're doing cocaine, it's quite possible just to stop. And because as far as I can understand, cocaine is a muscle relaxant, for one thing. In other words, it's speed. And speed is all the same. It's all a muscle relaxant. And there's supposed to be a downer after the high. But I don't believe there is, unless the person thinks there is. And then, of course, they have the downer. But there really isn't. So all they need to do really is just stop. Same thing with anything else, as far as I'm concerned. Alcohol's the same way. And I know it can be tough, because when we get sodden with anything, like alcohol, for example, we have 50 to 100 trillion cells, and they all get drunk. And so when we stop something, the little voice you hear that says, as you're driving past the liquor store, that says, well, just go in here and get a bottle of whatever, and nobody will know. And it's that time they have to say, well, I know, we know, and so it's just not going to happen. And have that resolve, that presence of mind to be able to say, no, it's not going to happen. Get over it. And if they don't, well, if you can't do that, then of course you'll go back to doing whatever it is they want you to do. The same with smoking cigarettes, for example. It's the same thing. They get sodden with the material, and they can't quit, because all the cells are saying, I need some either alcohol or whatever it is. They need it, of course, because it's of the body. As we know, those sorts of things are of the body. It's not of the mind. However, the mind can say to the body, it's not going to happen anymore, so you'll have to just live with it. Get over it. It's because, and I think it's possible to go in and meet yourself, meet the unconscious, and represent yourself as the ambassador, if you will, to the outside. Because the conscious sees through the eyes, hears, and all of our senses. And in essence, so does the unconscious. Although they're very busy. They're busy having parties, for example. They're also busy running the body. And that 50 to 100 trillion cells are, they just do whatever it is that we give them to do. And it's like the unconscious is waiting for us to, like if we say to ourselves, and this is another topic, of course, if we say to ourselves, I'm stupid, well, that's fine. I'll say, okay, well, from now on, we're stupid. They're just waiting for you to direct the traffic, is what it is. And so, as far as that's concerned, it's just a question of saying, no, I'm not doing it anymore, period. And I know it's difficult. I know many people who have lost all their 50 to 100 trillion cells because of that. They can't stop.